What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. The street code. Mostly everybody in the world knows what that is, even if you are not involved in any illegal activity. You see and don't see, hear and don't hear. If you live in a community with a high crime rate, and definitely, number one, most people feel like you should never talk to police, especially to volunteer information. It goes back to that old saying, snitches get stitches. It's people in every inner city in America that have saw or experienced a crime firsthand and never told a soul because they know the outcome. Most feel like it's just everyday life in certain environments. I know in Baltimore, I remember seeing older people sitting on their porches watching everything we did, from hustling, robbing, to worse. But they never told on us, not because we made any threats. It was just an unspoken rule that they probably was taught growing up. But despite how G you think your hood is, the fact of the matter is, we still have everyday working people that's not involved in those street politics that want to feel safe. Some might even choose to report something they saw to police, and that's when things can get tricky or even turn fatal. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to Denver, Colorado to discuss a case of a mother and son's plot to silence a witness after the state made a fatal mistake. Back in 2016, a man named David Henderson was living with his mother in the Denver area. David was outgoing and liked to help the people he was around, earning him the nickname Uncle Dave. The 48-year-old man was a mechanic by trade, and to make a living, he would post ads on Craigslist offering his services. Everything seemed to be going good and in the right direction for the businessman until August 14th, 2016. David got a call from a woman, at the time 49-year-old Tina Black, to work on a car for her son. Thinking it was business as usual, David, who didn't have a whip of his own at the time, waited for Miss Tina to come pick him up from a certain location to do the work. She arrived and headed to the Timbers Hotel where she was staying, her and her son, 25-year-old Terrence Black. Tina showed him the car and stated she would be back. Only knowing a little bit about the family from around the way, David didn't get too personal and just started working on the car. It needed a radiator hose, but it was a problem. He wasn't able to finish the job because the parts store was closed that day. He wanted to head back home, but he had to wait for Miss Tina to return, who had headed out driving with 3 unknown men. Once she pulled back up to the room, the men pulled out a duffel bag and trash cans filled with grass that was packed. David saw it all, over 440 pounds. The mother and son team had just hit a major lick of Cure, Colorado, a dispensary in the area that was located on 6200 East Yale Avenue. The police didn't know who was responsible as of yet. It had just happened. A worker reported 3 men and a woman had pulled up in a white car. The men entered with weapons, told her don't move, and cleaned the spot out. David was in shock at what he was witnessing. Peeping his face, Terrence upped the blick on him and another person, stating, if y'all tell anybody about this, I will get y'all gone. David said quietly, feeling uncomfortable, until Miss Tina and another man decided to take him back home. While in the car, he saw masks, gloves, and other items. He decided to take pictures of it with his phone. Once dropped off, David decided to text Crime Stoppers and report what he had just witnessed. Out of fear, his name would come up as a suspect if the family got caught, breaking a golden rule in the streets. But he told his family he had to do the right thing, even going to the police station and giving them the pictures he took, location of the hotel, and more. With that information and witness testimonies from the dispensary, police picked up Terrence and a few other men, but not Miss Tina at first. Confused, Terrence and the squad were looking at each other, wondering who could have told. They had the perfect getaway. Terrence would eventually get a bond and bail out. This is where things get crazy. The courthouse, who had the affidavit with charges and witnesses who gave information and was willing to testify, was sent to all police in the investigation, the judge, prosecution, but in a fatal mistake, also one of the men being charged with Terrence on a lick. He received paperwork in the mail with David's name all in the front and center as the key witness for the state. It was a clerical error at the courthouse. Whoever sends out the affidavits was supposed to check or uncheck boxes of all parties involved, from law enforcement, witnesses, and suspects, which of course the accused wasn't supposed to receive it. They didn't check off the boxes that day, so everyone got a copy. But at that time, it was too late. The other man called Terrence immediately and told him like, yo, that mechanic David is telling everything, which made the man furious. Also, David got word Tina and Terrence were on his heels and looking for him, which made him paranoid and scared. People who associated with the mother and son told David they had strong gang ties. He told friends and his sister he was trying to get enough money to go to Florida and feared for his life, as the state dropped the ball and wasn't even trying to help and fix the situation by putting him up somewhere. One other witness had fled already out of fear. Then on October 12th, only 18 days after Terrence was released on the box, a young lady came to buy some girl from him and his mother. While making the sale, he asked her in a calm demeanor, "Where your boy David at?" As he knew the two were cool. She stated, "Oh, I'm about to go see him right now. He at his mother's apartment." The mother and son then allegedly stated, "You do know snitches get stitches, right?" Later that night, David was hanging outside of his mother's home when a car pulled up, letting off multiple shots from two different guns. His mother heard the commotion and went to check on David to find him shot over 10 times. She called local police, who responded to the location to find David, unfortunately, already gone on the scene. His sister and family were devastated and felt he was left unprotected after the courts made a fatal mistake. The case would go under the radar and wouldn't be spoken much on, as detectives wanted witnesses and people who knew of David's hit to feel comfortable to come forward. Surprisingly, after all of that, people still talked, including a young lady who went and copped the girl that night from Terrence. She pointed at Tina and Terrence. The two were picked up and charged with first-degree hit, witness intimidation, and other charges. As David's sister told the state, Terrence tracked David down before the murder, upped the blick on him, and told the man to take back all your statements and don't come to court. But David still chose to go through with the up-and-coming trial for the robbery, telling family, "I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I still got to do the right thing." That wasn't the first case of paperwork being sent to the defendant, as over 1,500 cases had been reported that year, some also ending in murder of witnesses. But yet the state went public and showing people to keep talking as they allegedly fixed the problem by getting the judges to sign off, checking everything before sending affidavits out. The case of the mother and son would stay low-key and failed witness intimidation all the way until it went to court. David's family was there and Tina spoke out, stating, "We didn't do that. I don't believe in black-on-black violence. Sorry y'all lost y'all people, but now the state and system is failing us again, taking me away from my family." Terrence didn't say too much, but in the end, both mother and son was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the hit on David. Some co-defendants in the dispensary robbery turned state, and even another suspect in the hit. Due to the first mistake, names wasn't released. David's family spoke out on how everything played out. Happy they got justice, but still frustrated about the error. They felt that mistake cost him his life. Rest in peace to David. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to his family. This is a crazy situation all around the board. Why would Tina and Terrence have a mechanic at the spot knowing they going on a lick, then pulling out the product in front of somebody they barely knew? If you are living that lifestyle, you can't expect everybody to live by that code. David made a decision that unfortunately cost him his life. In certain environments, a lot of everyday civilians have lost their lives because of what they witnessed. That's why people don't talk to police, because they still gotta live there. The state was reckless and cared nothing about the witnesses. It's all about convictions. 1,500 cases got sent out. Either somebody wanted that to happen or just didn't care. The mother and son turned the robbery to a life sentence because in my opinion, they wasn't street smart enough to keep their business to themselves. So remember, we gotta succeed not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, crazy story, man. I ain't gonna say too much more about this one. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Definitely be respectful. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. This another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out.